We see the save switch into Ledian, baiting out Turtonator. Ledian might be weak to fire, but our monstrous stat product means we're withstanding these incinerates reasonably well. Ekwarikan farms up, fires off the dynamic punch, rocking them down to around a third health. The opponent looks for that incinerate farm down, but Ledian says no. Welcome back to the channel. What can I say other than today is the day we have finally found a meta where Ledian can actually shine. I've used this Pokemon numerous times in the past, before it got access to counter, and despite its monstrous stat product, it was always such an underwhelming pick. When I say monstrous stat product, I really am not kidding. This thing has a 2200 stat product. Ironically, it's going to be bulkier than stuff like Licky Licky, Dugong, Stunfisk, Altaria, and even old meta staples like Noctowl. It's actually got the 29th overall biggest stat product out of all Great League Pokemon. A lot of other content creators will tell you bulk is king, so why do we never see Ledian in action? In the Open Great League, there's far too many things for it to avoid. However, the Love Cup is full of double fighter strategies, double rollout strategies, and Ledian can more than handle both of them. Today, we've got a very fun and unique showcase from my friend Alvin, aka Ekwarikan, utilising a core of Krookodile and Ledian. Krookodile is going to shut down them rollout users, as well as fire types. Ledian going to cover Krookodile's weakness and vulnerabilities to fighting. This core is going to be weak to stuff like Talonflame, so rounding the team off, we've got the best Pokemon in the format, in my humble opinion, Galarian Slowbro. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles! And in game 1, Ekwarikan's off to a tough start, leading Krookodile into Clefable. Ekwarikan utilises Ledian on the save switch, baiting out Licky far too thicky. Ledian double weak to rock due to his bug flying typing, but is hitting Licky Licky back for super effective with the counters. Ekwarikan invests to protect shield, blocking up the second body slam and goes for the aerial ace bait. Aerial ace forces the opponent's first protect shield. Ledian able to withstand the rollout, reaching the dynamic punch. Is the opponent willing to two shield in the mid game? They are not, and Ledian takes back switch. Clefable re-enters the arena and does get a very nice fairy wind farm down, but this opponent going to be cussing their luck, as losing alignment has potentially lost them this game, as they're immediately hard punished by Galarian Slowbro. The opponent fires off the Swift and they're actually opting to stay in, which is a pretty questionable play as these poison jabs are going to tear through their HP. Ekwarikan invests to protect shield on the next Swift, looking to keep Slowbro healthy. The opponent then pivots out into Miltank, looking to catch a charge move unsuccessfully. Does the opponent have Ice Beam? Or if they do not, it's just a body slam. Krookodile easily withstands the damage and going to fire off the Brick Break. Brick Break hits for super effective and also has a 100% chance to debuff their defense. This next body slam still won't be lethal, and Krookodile can potentially commit to a full Mud Slap farm down. It's going to be close. Can we get the Mud Slap farm down? Unfortunately we cannot, but that's neither here nor there, as this game is signed, sealed and delivered. Slowbro re-enters the arena. The opponent pivots out, not to give us any free farm, but it's simply too little too late. Slowbro fires off the Surf, forcing the opponent's final protect shield, but Slowbro able to outpace to the next Surf, and Surf will be moving Clefable from the field of play. Miltank still alive, but one poison jab going to be enough to take that game. The tough leads continue for Ekwarikan. Once again, we utilise Ledian in the save switch position, this time baiting out Turtonator. In both games so far, we've seen Ledian in theory punished on the save switch, but Ledian might have a little something to say about that. We land the dynamic punch and immediately open up the door for us to realign our Pokemon. We see the instant shield deployed, blocking up the Dragon Pulse, and Ledian's even going to be able to counter farm down before the next Incinerate registers. Ledian putting in so much work on the save switch. Out comes Skeledirge. Skeledirge going to be able to withstand this aerial ace reasonably well, but we now get the alignment we want, as Krookodile going to have his wicked way with Skeledirge. Krookodile hits the field of play, the pivot into Metachan, and it's immediately answered with Slowbro. To this point in the video, we're 2 for 2 on lost leads, and in theory, 2 for 2 punished on the save switch, but both times Ledian's been able to muscle its way through that mid-game matchup, giving us the alignment we want, and in GBL sometimes alignment's all you need. We might be down a protect shield, but Slowbro going to work on this Metachan. Of course, we're just going to save our final shield for Krookodile. The opponent looks like they're saving 2 shields for Skeledirge, but if that's their play pattern, let me tell you, this opponent can save both them shields for next season. Skeledirge re-hits the field of play. The opponent's going to need to double up. Krookodile going to Mud Slap farm all the way down, and we take that game. In the next battle, finally, we find ourselves somewhat more of a neutral matchup. A lot of Electrode in this meta carry Swift and Wild Charge, and if that's their moveset, they can't really hit us for any meaningful damage. Have we found the one Electrode running Energy Ball? We see the instant no shield deployed. Ekwarikan says throw it if you've got it, and just like that, the opponent says thanks, picking up that one shot. Ekwarikan sent out Slowbro, looking for the farm down, and out comes the snail. This snail is going to be a problem for us. We pivot into Ledian. Once again, we're hitting for super effective, but taking super effective in return. We see the shield deployed, blocking up the rock tomb, and we're going for the aerial ace bait. Aerial ace gets called. Can we counter farm down before the next rock tomb's reached? We cannot. Ledian has managed to put this thing in a range where we are going to be able to farm down with Slowbro. Slowbro comes in, gets that poison jab farm down. The opponent sends back out Electrode. The opponent recognises they're not going to reach a charge move and pivot out into the Kentucky Fried Chicken Bird of Death. The opponent sending out of Electrode has given us a win con. We've now got such an energy lead. Ekrekan was able to successfully brutal swing bait, meaning we can now go straight Surf in this matchup. Surf forces the opponent's final Protect Shield, but the energy lead is just going to be too much for this opponent to overcome. Ekrekan going to block up the fly. Slowbro will be outpacing to the next Surf, and Surf will be removing Talonflame from the field of play. Down goes the Firebird of Death. One poison jab removes Electrode, and the win streak continues. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see Licky far too thicky in the lead. A lot of Lickies are carrying Earthquake. Ekrekan farms up, fires off the Brick Break on the CMP side to a potential Earthquake. Are we going to call it? Ekrekan instantly shields, fearful of the Earthquake. The opponent goes to the body stand bait. I'd love to see us catch the next Earthquake. Throw free catch onto Ledian. Ekrekan doesn't go for that play. Instead fires off the next Brick Break on the CMP side. Brick Break forces the Protect Shield, which likely means the opponent is going to fire off an Earthquake. Ekrekan more than happy to 2-shield his lead, looking to pick his alignment in the back. The opponent not wanting to concede a farm down, save switch into Wigglytuff. I'm not entirely sure what this opponent was hoping for. If you're going to save switch the annoying Marshmallow, you can expect to be hard punished by Slowbro, as Slowbro is probably the most common Pokemon in the format. We fire off the Surf, removing them from the field of play, and out comes Skeledirge. Ekrekan fires off the obvious Brutal Swing. The opponent knows it's only a Brutal Swing, opt to no shield, and that just puts him into Mud Slap farm down range. We attempt to throw the next Brutal Swing, but lose CMP, but this game's already over. Disarming Voice picks up the knockout. Ekrekan sends out Krookodile, goes for the catch onto Ledian unsuccessfully. These counters are double resisted, but the opponent is going to get counter farm down. The opponent fire off the Disarming Voice. We withstand the damage. Back out comes Licky, far too thicky. We fire off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. The opponent looks for the Rollout farm down. Ledian counter farms them down instead. We counter farm down a Ghost type and take that game. In the next battle, we see Scraft in the lead. Once again, utilising Ledian in the safe switch position, this time baiting out Skeledirge. Unlike Turtonator, this matchup's objectively worse as the counters are double resisted. And we're forced to go for Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace did get reworked a few seasons ago, but it's still a pretty mid move, hence I always call it Aerial Ass. Unfortunately, this is a matchup Ledian will not be muscling its way through. The opponent farm up to 100 energy, fire off the Disarming Voice, which means they're doubled up. Krookodile hits the field of play, going to be looking for that one shield, full Mud Slap farm down. The Scrafty matchups are pretty poor, but at least Brick Break does hit back for super effective. We fire off the Brick Break immediately. It looks like the opponent got one turn bring in, meaning the counter won't even register. Brick Break, force the Protect Shield, we pivot out into Slowbro. The opponent enters the mirror. Is this a winnable game? Potentially. We fire off the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing does around half the opponent's health. Both trainers hanging on to one Protect Shield. Ekrekan going to be saving it, likely for the Foul Play. Foul Play would do more than a Brutal Swing, but I think we're just going to run out of HP. Ekrekan, one Poison Jab ahead in this battle, meaning we're always going to be able to outpace. Brutal Swing forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Ekrekan more than happy to invest the Protect Shield here, and we just need to be careful. Mindful the opponent might try to make a catch. Switch timer is up. We make the pivot into Krookodile, baiting back out Scrafty. We fire off the Brick Break and what looks to be a CMP tie. Oh boy, I think the opponent might have thrown this game. The opponent's now energy dry. So Slowbro is going to come in and feast on the opponent. They go for the Thunder Punch, which is double resisted. Why, I'm not entirely sure. Slowbro hits the field of play, gets the Poison Jab farm down, leaving with a charge move. I'll be honest, I was a bit worried in that battle. The opponent played a bit scuffed, and Ekrekan will be emerging victorious. GG's. In the next battle, we see Galarian Slowbro in the lead. A very nice lead for us. The opponent save switch into Licky, far too thicky. We stay in, fire off the Brick Break. I'd love to see us try and catch an Earthquake on Ledian. Ekrekan not going for any of my crazy shenanigans. Instead, lands the Brick Break and makes the pivot into Galarian Bro. Slowbro shields up the Shadow Ball. Ekrekan then going to farm up, throwing the correct 4 Poison Jabs and the Brutal Swing. Looking to move Licky, far too thicky from the field of play. Down goes Lickitung. For anyone over the age of 18, I think a fun drinking game would be taking a shot every time I called Licky Licky Lickitung. I seem to do it time and time again. The opponent enters the mirror. However, we're going to go to work in this matchup. We land the Brutal Swing, and we're still outside of Brutal Swing range ourselves. The opponent fire off the Brutal Swing. Ekreek banks the Brutal Swing for the road, makes the pivot into Krookodile. Is this just a Brutal Swing? I believe so. I believe they're short on the surf. The opponent fire off the Brutal Swing, which does absolutely nothing. Out comes Soul Rock. The opponent going to get torn apart by the Mud Slaps, and they concede the match. In the next matchup, we see Shiny Licky Licky in the lead. The opponent say switch into Broxish. Oof, this is not a good matchup. I'd go for the one shield. Full Mud Slap farm now. Ekreek can look to score the Psychic Fangs. Oh, that's an Aqua Tail. Holy crap, we get rock deep into the red health range. Krookodile fires off the Brick Break, forcing a debuff on their defense, but the opponent does manage to realign. We send out Ledian. Ledian actually going to invest the Protect Shield. This one is the Psychic Fangs, and we're now forced with a debuff defense, meaning the double super effective rollouts are going to do even more damage when Licky Far Too Thicky returns. Out comes Licky Licky. We go straight for the Dynamic Punch. Dynamic Punch lands for big damage, rocking them below half health. We see the pivot into Slowbro, and out comes a Lola Mola. This bloody fish is so annoying. It is incredibly bulky, even more bulky than Ledian. It's got almost 2300 stat product that makes it the 22nd overall highest stat product in the Great League. You can see this Poison Jab, Brutal Swing combination simply is not cutting it. Ekreek still with a Protect Shield, going to invest it here, blocking up the Psychic. Hopefully we don't get debuff, no debuff occurs. The downside of a Lola Mola is it is so slow to charge moves. Ekreek massively overfarms before firing off the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing goes unshielded. We see the pivot into Ledian. We're outside of Body Slam range. Trainer, you're going to need Shadow Ball, and you're going to need to full send. The opponent fire off the Body Slam, which simply does not cut it. We get off one further counter. Slowbro, Poison Jab farms down Licky, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see the Krookodile Mirror. We're kind of forced to stay in. Ledian would love to have his wicked way with this Mud Slapper, but of course Slowbro wants no part of it. Ekreek able to win the charge attack priority, which is nice for us. The opponent invests the Protect Shield, and I'm anticipating us looking to match. We do have to be mindful the opponent might look to try and make a catch now, knowing they lose CMP, although as I say that, can we even reach another charge move? The opponent actually able to withstand the Mud Slaps, which is pretty brutal. So we lose the one shield scenario, we send out Ledian. Ledian gonna tank the Brick Break, which does absolutely nothing. That is double resisted, but still, I think it actually healed us. That must have done like 1 damage. The opponent now sends out a Lola Mola. We reset our debuff, sending out Slowbro, and it looks like the opponent's more than happy to stay in. This is such a long, drawn-out matchup. The Poison Jab Brutal Swing combination doesn't do anywhere near as much as you'd like. Likewise, the Waterfalls and non-stab Psychics don't really do much either. The opponent fire off the Psychic, then make the pivot into the mirror. Ekreek looks to fire off on the charge attack priority, but as this time us with a lower attack. Ekreek burns the final Protect Shield, blocking up the Brutal Swing. So with that information, of course, we need to ensure we don't play to CMP the next time. We land the first Brutal Swing. Ekreek waste no time, going straight for the next Brutal Swing, looking to force the opponent's final Protect Shield. The opponent putting it all on the bulky fish. However, I think that's a mistake, and Ledian going to be far too bulky. The opponent's going to have to try and reach a Hydro Pump. I'm not even sure a Hydro Pump will knock us out. Ekreek fires off the Aerial Ace. Ledian continuing to farm up, able to win the race to the next Aerial Ace. And in this battle of bulk, it will be Shadow Ledian emerging victorious. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see Licky Far Too Thicky in the lead. The opponent say switch into Talonflame. As the return behind, we can throw 5 Mud Slaps. And I was going to say the Crunch. Ekreek has other ideas, going for the Brick Break bait. The opponent not falling for any of our bait and nonsense. Opt a no shield, and we send out Slowbro. The opponent calling that bait has put us in somewhat of a tricky spot. Ekreek going to call. The opponent won't Brave Bird. They fire off the fly. Looks like Ekreek going to go for the one shield. Full Poison Jab farm down and leave with all the energy in the world. Slowbro able to get that farm down, leaving with very little HP, but energy good to go. Back out comes Lickitung. After throwing this surf, I'd like to see us pivot out and not concede a farm down. Ekreek commits to the next surf. We don't get energy any off, and we do concede that farm down. This now gets quite dicey. Ekreek sends out Ledian to operate as the damage sponge. Let's see if this opponent's running Shadow Ball. The opponent fire off the Body Slam, which is a pretty easy tank for us. We can tank this next one as well, and we should be able to counter farm down afterwards. The opponent fire off the Body Slam and likely pivot out not to concede that farm down, although what do I know, the opponent gives us that full farm down, and it all makes sense as out comes Scrafty Ledian, deep in the red, but these counters are double resisted. Can we reach the double Aerial Ace? Oof, just about. Ledian holds strong, Reaching area ace number 2, forcing the opponent's final protection. We get counter farm down. It's all down to Krookodile to clean up. If the opponent's on power up punch, I think it's game over for us. The opponent is on power up punch. Krookodile able to reach the brick break, but brick break not a particularly good move, and we don't get stab. Brick break is survivable for the opponent. They counter farm us down, and we are going to take a heartbreaking loss. GG's that opponent. In the next battle, it looks like we didn't even get the 3-2-1 countdown, so straight into the action with Krookodile into Ariados. Ekriken blocks up the lunge, attempts to throw a brick break bait in return, but the opponent catches onto Milotic. Milotic now forces the debuff defense and make the pivot into Galarian Slowbro. If we can realign our Pokemon, Ledian should be in a good spot as we should fully wall Ariados' usual moveset unless they're running cross poison. Slowbro more than happy to tank the Surf and commit to that poison jab farm down. Surf gets us into the red, but Slowbro able to farm down and leaves very little farm for whatever should return. Back out comes Ariados. Ariados greeted with the Surf. Surf, of course, does get same type attack bonus and will do objectively more than a brutal swing. The opponent invests that Protect Shield, and out comes Ledian. Let's see if this opponent does have cross poison. If not, they are in for such a rough day. The opponent fire off the lunge. Lunge does absolutely nothing. The opponent continuing to stay in and going to fire off yet another debuff to Ledian's already non-existent attack stat. Out comes Alola Mola. I really don't agree with firing off this double debuffed energy. I think we should just pivot. Of course, it's a dreadful matchup for Krookodile, but you may as well reset that double debuff before firing off any energy at all. Krookodile hits the field of play, goes straight for the Crunch. Crunch goes unshielded and gets the defense shot, which is objectively worse for us. It just means Ledian's going to get less farm. Of all the times to get a defense drop, that certainly wasn't it, as we're going to need to reach double aerial ace. Counter's energy generation is horrendous. You can see we haven't even got the first aerial ace banked. Back out comes Ariados. Ariados going to fire off the lunge, and despite being resisted, we're certainly in lunge range, and the opponent will be emerging victorious. GG's that opponent. In the next battle, we see a Digimon in the lead. Why is a Digimon in the game of Pokemon Go? Who knows? We say switch into Ledian, baiting out Turtonator. Ledian not messing around, going straight for the Dynamic Punch and looking to make a play at taking back switch. The Dynamic Punch lands. The opponent looks for Incinerate, farm down Ledian, says no, and able to win the Zero Shield scenario. The opponent dies with 100 energy. Back out comes Dredigan. Dredigan going to be greeted with the Aerial Ace. Dredigan insanely glassy. All for Aerial Ace gets him below half health. Again, we see an opponent fall victim of the very annoying one-turn bring-in after a Pokemon faints, meaning they didn't get their Dragon Tail through. We send back out Krookodile. Krookodile looks for the one shield. Full farm down. The opponent not wanting to get farmed down. Send out Scrafty. Scrafty invests the Protect Shield, blocking up the Brick Break, and Slowbro hits the field of play. The poison jab damage is really going to start adding up with a debuff defense, and we do double resist counter as both poison and psychic do resist fighting. We don't even farm up to the Surf, just going straight for the brutal swing. The opponent forced to invest the Protect Shield, thinking Scrafty is the key to victory. The opponent, is this a power-up punch? I believe so, but we're going to invest the Protect Shield, blocking up the power-up punch. Dredigan looks for the snipe, but they're unable to get it. We fire off the brutal swing, removing Dredigan from the field of play. We then re-pivot out into Krookodile. The opponent able to counter farm down. This is just a power-up punch. Does a double resisted power-up punch KO from this range? No, it doesn't. Oof, we survive a 1 HP in a dream and take that game. In the next battle, we see a commanding lead. Trainer, why on earth are you staying in these mud slaps? Double super effective. We fire off the Brick Break, forcing a Protect Shield. This is the easiest one shield and farm down of Ekriken's life. He invests that Protect Shield. The opponent go for the Rock Tomb bait. No, and then send out Slowking. Trainer, you are so weak to this Krookodile. Ekriken go straight for the Crunch, which is now debuffed, but still lands for huge damage. You could shield and farm down and look to sweep the team. Oh gosh, we're going for it. Will the Krookodile sweep an entire team? We shield the Surf, get that full mud slap farm down. We know the Snail will not be returning. What is that third? Please don't be triple weak. Trainer, please, I beg of you. No, they've got double confusion. We're going for the Brick Break bait like an absolute savage. Brick Break forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. We're able to reach the Crunch. The Krookodile is actually going to sweep. What the hell is going on? Crunch actually isn't lethal as we've still got that debuff. The sweep is denied. Oh my god, Trainer. I think you're going to rethink your team comp after this. We get the resisted, counter farm down the Snail, and take that game. In the next battle, we see another Croc Mirror. I don't know the IV is an Ekorikan's Pokemon, but he was able to win CMP last time. This time, it's the opponent with a higher attack. Ekorikan shields up the Brick Break before returning fire with his home Brick Break. Last time we got farmed down before we was able to farm down the opponent. Let's see if that occurs again, or will it be a Sign or KO? Unfortunately, again, the opponent able to farm us down before we farm them down. We're going to send out Ledian to tank the double resisted Brick Break. And then I guess we're going to pivot out to reset our debuff. Ledian gets a small energy lead. The opponent sends out Slowbro. This is kind of tough, to be honest. I counter hit him for double resisted, and you don't want to pivot into the mirror when you're behind on energy. The opponent fire off the brutal swing, even with debuff defense. Ledian is just so thick. We tank that a lot better than I was expecting. We land the aerial ace, do enter the mirror. Aerial ace has certainly put him into brutal swing range, and out comes a triple legacy, or at least I can only assume triple legacy Sea King. They should be running both Icy Wind and Drill Run. Of course, Drill Run would hit for super effective, although this is certainly an Icy Wind bait. We think about calling it last second. Investor Protect Shield. The opponent does go for the Icy Wind bait, hoping that bait will change their fate. But I think Slowbro might have this one in the bag. We fire off the Brutal Swing. Can we get the jab farm down before they reach the next move? Yes, we can. Slowbro still outside of Brutal Swing range. The opponent can probably tank this as we are debuff, but they're kind of forced to shield. Brutal Swing forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Looks like Ekorikan more than happy to stay in. Going to tank the Brutal Swing, fire off his own Brutal Swing, and if this doesn't knock out, we should be able to counter farm down afterwards. Brutal Swing does around 50%, but one stage debuff. So does this knock out? No, it doesn't. Quick switch into Ledian, double resisted counter farm down, and we take that game. In the next fight, we see a tough lead with that fighter that really needs to pull its trousers up. We've got a change of strategy, and this time a say switch into Galarian Slowbro. The opponent continues to stay in. Ekorikan takes the initiative, fires off the Surf. Surf lands, rocking them below half health. It looks like we're going to call. The opponent isn't going to foul play us. The opponent does foul play, and off that does a lot. The opponent then sends out Trash Wormadam, looking for the farm down. This is quite a smart play from the opponent. Our Croc will double resist the confusion damage, but we do have to be mindful of a Bug Buzz. The opponent likely throw it. There's no real reason to bait. This thing doesn't really have any bait moves. Ekorikan correctly shields at the Bug Buzz. Can we mud slap farm down? It's straight 5s to the next move. That's 3, 4. Oh, big farm down. The opponent dies, receiving the energy for the next Bug Buzz. Back out comes Scrafty, and it's going to be death by Brick Break. We fire off the first Brick Break. The opponent opts to shield. We then bank it and make the pivot into Ledian. The opponent makes quite a slow switch out into their own Galarian Slowbro. We got off like 2 counters that did pretty much Scrafty's remaining HP. The thing with bulky Pokemon, even in type disadvantage matchups like this, you're able to cheese your way through it. The counters are double resisted, but will add up over time. And it looks like 2 aerial aces with them residual counters will pretty much knock out. Ekorikan knows he survives this, and we are receiving the energy for the aerial ace. Where does the opponent burn that final Protect Shield? I'm guessing they kind of have to shield this, right? The opponent actually tanked the damage, quick switch into Croc. We get that Mud Slap farm down, back out, comes Scrafty, and we are now doubled up. You know the drill. The first Brick Break will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield, and the second would have knocked him out. The opponent recognised we're doubled up, don't shield whatsoever, and we take that game. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's Shoutcast. I can't quite believe it, but we finally found a meta where Ledian can shine in, and that makes me super happy. I've wanted this thing to be good forever, so if you've got one, now's the time to bust it out. Shout out my boy Ekorikan for submitting today's battles. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If like Ekorikan, you'd like your battles featured on my channel, a link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thanks to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.